you to rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
and
one nation,
One nation
under God,
and under God, indivisible, with
liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all. Great. Okay. All right, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to see everyone. Commissioner Miller is here. That's great. Okay, we have Anne-Marie Maglione and Commissioner Miller today. So Anne-Marie, good to see you. Hope all is well. I know that you've got a very busy department over there. And we've got one item on the agenda. I'm going to go to I'm getting technological on people here. Okay. I'm sorry, Doreen. Can we have a roll call?
Absolutely. Amo,
Here.
Anagnostakis,
Present.
O'Donnell,
here,
Sutherland,
Here.
Bartel,
Here.
Tui,
Here.
Staffy,
Here.
all present.
Okay, great. Okay, first on our agenda is Anne-Marie Maglione, Director for Office for the Aging, a request to accept and appropriate funds from AmeriCorps seniors in the amount of $5,000, legislative request number 022. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Tortel.
Lori Tortel.
Sutherland, second.
Second by legislator Sutherland. Okay, Anne-Marie, you want to tell us quickly about your grant?
Yes, this is $5,000 that we applied for from the RSVP program for pandemic support, and we were awarded it. And what we are going to do is we're going to do a pilot program where we're purchasing iPads that are going to help seniors not only remain kind of connected to people, so dealing with loneliness and isolation, but a lot of it is going to be, we're going to be doing telehealth. So we have volunteers that we're training in the IT field to then go out and kind of one-on-one mentor these pilot seniors so that they can do telehealth. And we're also using it, we're going to start a big letter writing campaign. Older adults really like that. So a lot of this is really dealing with the loneliness and isolation, which has been a huge, huge factor during this pandemic. And then, you know, just the little kind of minutia things that go along with it, postage, things like that.
Looks like there's a little training in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. You know, it's $5,000, but you know, it's going to help those folks. And there are a lot. I mean, we kind of take it for granted that we're connected, but they are disconnected. So this is a great grant. Wish it were more. But
Yeah, I do too.
okay.
But I think it's a start. So we're going to show, you know, we're going to show this pilot program. So then we're going to have some data that can show how important it is. And then we're hoping to get some more funding.
Bandit, great. Okay, Legislator Amo, question?
Just a question, Anne-Marie, what kind of equipment, maybe I wasn't listening closely, are you buying equipment with this grant?
We're buying iPads.
iPad. Okay, good. You know, we in our family have a 97-year-old who's in an assisted living facility, and we bought her an Echo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she can say, Alexa, what time is it? What's the weather like? And it talks back to her. And it said, remind me this or remind me that.
Right.
And it's wonderful.
It really is. We have. It really does. We have automated dogs and cats that we give to people. And I will tell you that has helped tremendously with loneliness and isolation. And Alexa too. I'll be honest, I talk to Alexa sometimes. So.
And she talks back. Thank you. Thank you very much, she says. Yeah.
Legislator Tortel, question or comment? You're muted, Lori.
It's separate to this issue. It's in regards to the COVID vaccines. I was wondering if we were going to be touching on that at all within.
Yeah, we can certainly. And Lori, I have a call into you, and I apologize, I haven't gotten back to you yet. We're averaging like 800 calls a day. We are beyond slammed. But when seniors are calling, this is what we do. We first ask them if they have email capability. If they have an email, if they're able to sign up for the state, for the county website. And if they are, and a lot of them are, we just ask them, go on the county website, sign up, you're on a wait list. My team, usually it's on Tuesdays, which is today, but because of this, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing as far as the vaccine this week. There's about 10 of us there's more like 30 people throughout the county, but there's like 10 of us that just go on that list and we sign up older adults. So we just ask them to be patient. So that's kind of what we do. If they don't have email capability and they don't know how to use a computer, then we sign them up ourselves.
Okay, because I called your number, the main number for Office for the Aging, and it didn't give me an option to leave a voicemail.
We might have been filled. IT has now increased our size.
Yeah, it didn't say
That-
mailbox full or anything. It just didn't give me an option.
Okay.
And I spoke to the Department of Health. They said that signing up there does not put you on the vaccine list. That's just to put you on a list for information. So there seems to be some miscommunication, and I've had some very confused senior citizens in my district, and it's going to get worse now that we have people who have systemic issues that can qualify now. How are we handling them?
Listen, I mean, my feeling is I'm still dealing with the 65 and older. I know that there's other people that can do it, and that's great, but my concern and my passion is the 65 and older. So that's what I do. So if you will tell them, if they go on the county website and they sign up, they are in fact on a wait list. This is not, they don't sign up to request information. So I think whoever told them that was not correct.
Yeah, it was the deputy commissioner, I believe it was Erickson, that I spoke to, and he said, no, that was more of a sign up on here and we're going to be giving you updates and information. It wasn't the wait list. He said the wait list was separate through your office. So that's where there's
I'm not aware of any sign up for information. I mean, I tell them to go on Facebook and listen to Steve Newhouse's evening update. So I know the county page that you sign up is a wait list. It's not just to give information. I will tell you, Lori, there's no way we could do a wait list to call and give people information because we are just slammed. There's 15,000 people on that wait list. So that's what that is. And again, they can certainly call us, try to call back within 48 hours, but.
Now, I know that I know some seniors, what's been going on is especially with the shortages of vaccines going on, they're having family members try and help them, and they're contacting other people, try and help them to shop the lists.
Right.
So what I've done, and I don't know if we want to consider this, is I've told them, listen, if you've called up the Office for the Aging and you're on that list, you need to call them and tell them that you've already had your vaccine if that's the case.
I've gotten a couple of people that have done that, and it's been really helpful because, and I will also tell you, when you were talking about their calling and their daughters calling and their neighbors calling, so now I'm having 8 phone calls for the same person. So and then sometimes people will sign up Helen Smith. Sometimes people will sign up Helen N. Smith. So it's very confusing. It's not senior friendly at all.
No, it's a mess, but I'm sure you're doing the best you can.
We're trying.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I just wanted to get some clarification because Deputy Commissioner Erickson had said that to me.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Legislator Sutherland, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to thank you, Anne Marie, for everything you guys are doing. Any constituents that I have had nothing but positive experiences. And while the frustration level is high at times for signing up and availability and everything else, they certainly know it has nothing to do with you and your agency. And I commend you and I thank you for everything you're doing and your dedication and your hard work to Orange County.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Because I will tell you, for every person that calls and says thank you, we've got 5 that call us something else. So
No doubt in my mind. So hang tough and know how much you are appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Janet. Legislator Tui.
Hi, Anne Marie. Thank you, Chairman. Hi, Anne Marie. You
Thank
guys
you.
are doing a monumental task. I think it was probably 3-4 weeks ago, the county executive was talking to Tony Cardona, myself, the supervisor here in Monroe, and Anne Marie Morris went to on and started to do it. This is when you guys were doing it by hand. So then that's when it would started to flow out, and whoever could take it by hand and get them.
Right.
So that was before the link was launched. So I think we figured that they were probably somewhere in the 2,000 to 3,000 range. And, if you do the math and watch the number of doses that have been given out, I'm glad to report that, after a couple phone calls from some nervous seniors, some neighbors and 88-year-old friends and over 80 crowd, I was real happy to hear, because I started to check to see like where we might be in the queue,
Right.
and especially with 15,000. Half of them, there was about 150 on the list that came from Monroe that Anne Marie inputted herself, and then started to do it. And I think you were getting those lists.
Yes.
They started getting them on Thursday, half of them. And then now I'm sure, because they were in that batch, that the others are hopefully this week or next week we'll be getting calls. But I've already had calls back and saying thank you for getting our seniors on the list. And I just can't imagine. I know that Steve pulled all of the couple different departments between yours, and you're doing the entry, and then someone else is calling them back to get the location, the date, and the time. And just want to really say on behalf of everybody from Monroe, thank you for the excellent job that you guys are doing.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you do, because, and I will tell you, so many legislators are really helping out. So thank you. And I get it. I think for older adults, this is their get out of jail free card. This is the golden ticket. So they are desperate to get it. So, sometimes you just have to talk to them and say, you're on the list. It's coming. Just be patient. It's going to happen. So,
yeah.
And we're going to get there.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Well, because now I'm dealing with people that don't have transportation. So I've contracted with Jewish Family Service, the Veterans Agency, if they're a veteran and they don't go to Castle Point. Christian Farrell's helping us. I'm going to start looking into Uber so that we can get them there. So that's another part that you really don't think about.
Until you get there.
All kinds of stuff, right? And it's going to snow on Thursday. So what do we do, right? So now we may have to cancel people for Thursday and have them go on Monday. So we're busy.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Legislator Tui. Legislator Vero.
Thank you, Chairman. To echo Lori's sentiments, it is a little unclear in the system. A couple of weeks ago, now that I'm a senior citizen, I went on the county portal, filled out everything and sent it in, but never got an acknowledgement. But it never really said if you are just on the waiting list or if you just made an inquiry. So
Okay.
A few days ago, I did it again. This time I actually received an acknowledgement. So I think that process is somewhat improved.
Right.
But it doesn't say anything about you're on a list. It's just still unclear there. So people it did say thank you for your inquiry, but it didn't say that, okay, you're on a list, we'll get back to you eventually. And I think that's what part of the problem is, the unclarity of it all. But,
You know what, John? I'll check into that and I'll let you know about that.
but it did give me an acknowledgement because I just call it John Q Public.
Right. And since you are 65, if you'd like me to help you sign up, I can do that.
I think I'm signed up. It did acknowledge me.
I think you are too.
The first time it did not, but people stopped me at the post office, asked me the same questions.
Right, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Legislator Vero. Okay, anyone else for Anne Marie before she takes off? Again, Anne Marie, thank you very much. Please let your staff know that we all appreciate all of their efforts.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Should we vote on that?
Oh,
You
I'm
need to vote,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do have a motion and a second. All in favor of the request to accept and appropriate the funds from AmeriCorps?
Aye.
Anybody? Anyone opposed? Okay, so ordered. Okay. Great. Thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.
You too. Okay, next on our list is Commissioner Darcy Miller. And Darcy's also very busy over there, but it looks like you got a lot of good news here. Numbers continue to be down in your report, and also you're bringing a lot of grant money here today. So welcome, Commissioner Miller and Todd. Hope you're doing well, you and your families. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Same to you, Chairman Sassy.
Thanks. And I'll move to our first request here, letter A. Just going to read it off my phone here. Request to accept and appropriate pass-through funds received by the Orange County Office of Community Development from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The funds are to be passed through the Department of Social Services to implement a homeless prevention program. The grant is in the amount of $1.514,201 million, and it's legislative request number 18. Do I have a motion?
Tui, so moved.
So moved,
Louis?
Tortel.
And second by Tortel. Okay, Commissioner, you want to give us a quick update on that and explain it?
Can I ask you a question first for process? All of these monies fall under the same rental systems programming that we're putting together in collaboration with community development. So I don't know if you want to go through all of them, and then I can give you the explanation in total with some specifics for each of the funding, or if you'd like me to just begin with one at a time.
I don't know, Chairman Brett or Majority Finelli, any suggestions on that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't
Well,
hear what you
there's
said.
there's three grants here, and they're all basically dealing with homeless prevention, homeless assistance, so on and so forth. So can we vote? You know, Commissioner Miller saying they're all basically the same. Do we want to go through them one at a time and vote on them, or? I guess so. I think that Darcy.
It's up to you. You're the chairman. You know,
Yeah,
whatever you wanna do.
let's go through. You don't have to, I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory and everybody had it to read over. But let's go through each one and just kind of give a rough idea. And I, like you said, they're just going to repeat. So
Yes.
let's just give a brief rundown on letter A and then we'll vote on that and go to B and then C.
Okay, so overall, and I am going to, Nicole Anderson from Community Development put together a very nice summary of these funds. We have a call with municipal leaders tomorrow to do outreach and connection to market this programming and to begin to plan our community for being able to apply for these funds. So I will forward it to you, Chairman Sassy, so that you can send it out to the rest of the committee and the other legislators. And it's still a long document because it's very complicated funding, but essentially it's all federal funding. It comes through community development, other than the Treasury funds, which are the 11 million plus funds that I'll get into some details on that. But these initial funds, you see we put together MOUs between community development and our Department of Social Services so that we can work together in putting these funds out into our community. They are for, these are ESG funds specifically. So we are able to use those funds currently for rapid rehousing as well as homeless prevention. So again, the funds are, some of these funds can be used right now, but the moratorium that's been put in place that we believe was extended today by President Biden through June restricts us from being able to use funds in both A and C category here until the person is able to show that they are imminently or currently homeless. So we do have the planning in place. We're looking forward to the work together with community development and other departments that will be assisting in getting these funds out.
Okay, great. Anyone have any quick questions on this? Majority Leader Benelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to kind of echo a little bit about what the commissioner is stating, both Peter and I sit on the advisory committee for community development, and the Community Development Advisory Committee reviewed these options of where this funding was going to go. And we felt that we wanted to cover as much of Orange County as we possibly can. So that's how we've zeroed in on all of these, and especially with the cooperation of social services and the commissioner. This is what you see before you so that we can implement this program. And I have to commend not only Commissioner Miller and her staff, but the community development staff as well. These are all new avenues that we're and they're doing a remarkable job in addressing all of this on behalf of the residents of Orange County. So thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Benelli. I can't say enough about, being able to work with Nicole and her team and their diligent effort to understand the federal requirements and restrictions.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, no question.
But you've all risen to the challenge, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, so carried. So let's go to letter B. Request to accept and appropriate funds from the U.S. Treasury of the third COVID-19 stimulus funding. These funds were applied for by the Department of Social Services while working in unison with Orange County Community Development. These funds are to be passed through the Department of Social Services to provide rental assistance for those from the 30 to 80% of the area median income who meet need requirements resulting from COVID-19, and the amount is $11,486,480. Legislative request number 019. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Tortel.
Tortel, and a second, Sutherland? Okay, Commissioner, you want to give us a?
So these funds have much more flexibility, and we're very excited by these funds, other than the timing restriction. But these funds, where the A and C really focus on the tenant, on the individual, and getting the renter stabilized. B, these treasury funds focus on also assisting landlords. So accepting landlord applications if they have 10 tenants who are in arrears. They can, in collaboration with the tenant, apply, and we can pay through one check the landlord for those 10 tenants rather than the tenants having to apply individually, which is a benefit to that. Also, it's for people who are at risk of homelessness. So even though the moratorium is in place, we're able to move forward with using these funds, and you can 12 months of rent arrears and a potentially additional 3 months, so you can pay 15 months of rent arrears, and you could also look at going 3 months forward. You can also pay utility arrears with these funds and other household needs, which gives you some nice flexibility. 10% of the total are administrative funds, so it would allow for us to be able to use those funds to purchase, increase temporary staff to assist with implementation, to purchase software to help us go from application through cutting the check process. There's about 10 steps we need to go through to get this money into the system, and it has to be 65% of it has to be appropriated by September of this year, and 100% of it spent by December of this year. So it's a lot of money to put out in the system in a very, very short period of time. We, along with community development and other departments who are general services and real property and employment and training, and I can go on and on with the departments who are standing ready for us to move forward with this. We have been put on halt because you had an option as a municipality accepting this money directly or having it just go to your state and then being part of whatever state distribution there was. Without having heard anything from the state, we as a county, along with our county executive's office, decided, well, let's get these funds secured so there's 11 million plus we know are here for Orange County residents. Since we received the funds, New York State HRC, HCR, Housing Community Rehabilitation, or whatever they stand for, they received the funds. They turned them over to OTDA, Office of Temporary Disability Assistance. Week after we made the decision to take the funds directly, the state reached out to us and all the other municipalities across the state who received their funds directly and said, please hold and consider doing one state plan. We'll make sure all those funds stay in your county. We'll make sure you keep your administrative funds to hire the staff that you need. But all you'll need to do is outreach, and we'll develop a plan from application through cutting the check that the whole state will use, including eligibility criteria for how the funding will go out. The last communication we've had with the state was last Monday, They hope to have an answer for us by the end of last week, and here at Tuesday, they still don't have an answer for us in questions. So we are preparing to go forward as though we're implementing the entire project, while knowing it's more likely the state is going to come to an agreement with the Treasury, and we are going to join the statewide project, and all of us will be working to get the same across the state, even though we've now secured those funds for us by joining the state plan. We will also be able to have additional funds that are unexpended in other communities and hopefully meet all of the need. My understanding is there is a $3.4 billion worth of need for rental arrears in New York State, and there's only $1.2 billion currently available. So we have a long way to go to fill that gap. It sounds like a lot of money, but we believe there's a lot of need. So we just need to get moving so we can get it spent by the end of the year. And that's it.
I would imagine it's so quick anyway. So, anyone have any questions or comments on that before we move on? Todd, did you have a question or comment?
I just wanted to add that earlier today, the state comptroller's office had given us a new account number to use for the revenue coding for these funds. And so I had forward, and Debbie Selinsky of budget had said we needed to send that information along. So I had forwarded a new copy of a Schedule A to Debbie Selinsky, and I also CC'd Gene Rampin so that the legislature could have that when they need to.
Okay, great. Thank you, Todd. Okay. Seeing no other, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great. Okay, the third request, letter C, request to accept and appropriate pass-through funds from the Orange County Office of Community Development Block Grant Program. These funds were originally received by the Orange County Office of Community Development from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The funds are to be passed through the Department of Social Services to implement a homeless prevention program. DSS will specifically look at risk of homelessness resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic in the amount of $1 million, and its legislative request number 020. Do I have a motion?
So moved,
Tui, so
Tortel.
Tui and Sutherland. Okay, Commissioner?
So these funds, with the moratorium in place, we're limited in being able to use them because, again, this has to show people who are currently homeless, and that they meet that federal criteria. So we're not able to use those funds. The beauty, though, of these funds is we have until August of 2023 to fully expend the funds. So our goal, obviously, we need to be looking at, and we have to hit those who are at 30% AMI and 50% AMI before we get to 80% AMI for the totality of funds. But we also need to be looking at timeframes of when we need to have the funds expended. So it's a lot of managing, even though the largest pot is in Group B, the Treasury funds, and those will likely need to be expended first because of the tight time frame. We still will be able to continue the programming using funds from both A and C to continue to meet need beyond the Treasury funds.
Legislator Tui, question or comment?
Thanks, Chairman. Just real quick, great collaboration with Community Development and Commissioner Miller. In the last several years with Community Development, you know, that we were dealing with several million a year for the municipalities. And this is just another example of departments coming together and every, you know, we saw it through the whole pandemic with different departments and programs evolving as we go. And every day is a new day for, you know, this is a big, it's a big chunk of money, but I'd also like to just be added to item B as a sponsor, Chairman.
Okay, sure. Doreen will take care of that. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of letter C? Aye.
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 Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, so carried. Very good. Such a great group here when it comes to money.
I'd like to be added
Yes.
to letter C as a sponsor,
Sure.
please.
Sure, Doreen, can you please add legislator Tortel?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and last on our agenda is the commissioner's report. If you had a chance to go through it, if you're looking at homelessness in particular and in that category, those numbers continue to be down, which is a good sign, but certainly tied into the pandemic and the governor's orders. So, but anyway, I'll ask Commissioner Miller to run through her report and then answer any questions you may have.
Sure. So you see, this is December 2020. So this is your year-end numbers, right? It's nice to see it all together. It allows you to compare year-end to year-end of 2019, in some cases all the way back to 2016. Not surprising to us, both our temporary assistance safety net ended on a very low number. We had significant decreases in both of those areas, and we've talked about that each meeting related to unemployment insurance, knowing that there will come a time in this economy, if it doesn't turn around very quickly, that we're going to see those numbers go up. In connection to that, you also see a decrease in the employment numbers. That's why employment training is expanding some of their support they're providing, and their staff will be helping with this rental assistance programming, and we appreciate both staffs being able to be available to assist with assistance programming as the caseloads are down on both sides. Our SNAP numbers, although they come in looking like they've only gone up a small percentage, believe me, the numbers that have come in, the number of applications that are coming through, significant amount of applications, triple on some weeks coming through on SNAP, as we're trying to be sure people are having food on their table. Heat, again, numbers are flying in. It's cold. So we have high numbers coming in for heat. I just want to talk for just a moment about our phone systems. So we manage the switchboard at 4,000. We manage calls for both SNAP and HEAP at 291, 2002. On AB work schedules, we have less people manning the phones. We can take up to 11,000 calls in a day, and we can hold 88 calls at any given time. But with half of the staff in and the number of vacancies in that unit and working on the AB schedules, we're not able to manage the phone calls that are coming into us. So you'll see some overflow coming out into the community. Some we've had direct divert to email, some direct divert to 311, some to other people's cells. So we've been working to try to manage this need with county IT to allow them to become remote. So we're taking an in-office, very complicated phone call center and trying to make it web-based and remote. And we're on the cusp of being able to do that. And we hope to see improvement very quickly and people being able to access us, because we know we are the front door. And when people cannot get us to pick up the phone, they become very upset, and they may be reaching out to you and to others looking for support. So if that does happen to you, please feel free to send an email, to make a phone call, let myself or Irene Kurlander know, and we will address it immediately to support people in the community. Last thing we want is to have poor customer service during this very difficult time. So we recognize the challenge, and we're working diligently to fix that. We already talked about emergency housing, those numbers being down. You see them down across the board. If you just look at our homeless trends from 2019, in January of 19, we had 178 counted as homeless and temporarily housed. In January of 2020, we had 116. So again, that has to do with the housing moratorium. People are not being removed from or evicted from their current housing, so there's more stabilization in the community. You might have seen, though, a recent newspaper article with the Middletown Warming Center. They went from having 8 or 9 or 10 people a week up to 28, so their numbers are increasing as the temperatures have gone down, and we'll likely see more of that as well. Appreciate all the work that the Warming Centers do in addition to our temporary housing programming. Medicaid numbers, what was the last number? We had 109,953 individuals receiving Medicaid as of May of 2020. It's a lot of people on Medicaid in Orange County. We'll see that number go up as we go through. We get these reports typically, obviously, this many months in arrears, so as many as 9 months behind the current date. But we usually get them every 3 months, so we'll report them out to you as soon as we have them. But significant rise in our Medicaid numbers. Child Protective Services came out a little below, obviously, the averages of previous years. We've already talked about that again, too. Money has to do with school neglect issues, as they haven't been making reports as quickly. We are open and available to work with every school. We have a monthly meeting with Newburgh School District specifically to help them engage students who have not been engaged in remote or in-face learning. We have our meeting with BOCES and other superintendents that happens bi-monthly. So we're really trying to stay on top of what's happening and ensure that children who might not have been eyeballed, that we have a means of making connection with them, and certainly encourage, make a report. If you're in question about the safety of a child, call in a hotline report. We will respond. We've been working in the field since the beginning, and we want to be sure that our children are safe. Raise the age, I don't think you have any questions around that. Those numbers remain pretty consistent. From what we've been seeing, we don't see any huge increases. In fact, we came in lower for our JD arrests in 2020 than we did in 2019, slightly higher in AO and JO arrests. But overall, again, very successful diversion. Appreciate the collaboration between Department of Probation, Social Services, and Mental Health, and really have a successful team working together in those areas. Foster care numbers, December down to 307. The average is lowest they've been in the past 5 years. I said lowest they've been in a decade. Really, really good work of supporting families, keeping families together, moving towards permanency as quickly as you can, even despite courts not processing adoptions throughout the pandemic and working only on an emergency basis. We still see improvement in the number of children in care. Adult Protective Services, working closely with our other departments. Anne-Marie Maglione and her team have been incredible with this population of aging, and we appreciate Adult Protective Services coming in to support when we need them. Child support, over 44 million collected in 2020 for child support, helps stabilize households once again. And our Special Investigations Unit had that period where they had waiver. Currently, we have no waivers other than a waiver for face-to-face. So we're able to process eligibility without doing a face-to-face interview. But other than that, there are no waivers. Well, that's not true either. There's one other waiver. Medicaid, for recertification for Medicaid, that has been waived. So we're only processing those new applications that come our way, which are chronic cases, and just managing any calls that come in with questions. We are not doing recertification. So we're hopeful that that's going to allow us to catch up with the backlog related to, in particular, long-term care applications, which are very, very intense back of people's resources. So we're hoping to find ourselves without any overdue rates in Medicaid processing. And that's it.
Great. Anybody have any questions? Read the report. Stand down. Okay. See, Legislator Cheney has joined us. How are you, Mr. Cheney?
Good, thank you. Sorry about that.
Good, no problem. Good to see you. Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Donald, thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Thank you all.
Good afternoon,
Take
everybody.
care. Thank you. Thank you, Todd.
Okay. I know.